can catch it before you flipped it over on yourself. What are you doing?
Hey, I'll do it.
You know I have this recording, right?
Oh my god, no.
Hi guys, Amber Craft here, local writer. Now, today I wanted to talk to you about querying. It's something that I'm almost at the process of doing again, and if I'm going to traditionally publish, I need to know. And if you are at that stage in your writing, you need to know this also. Now, a query is part of what's known as a novel package or a submission package. Now this includes your query letter, your synopsis, at least 3 consecutive sample chapters should they ask for more, a chapter by chapter outline, and an author biography. Now parts of this will be included in your query, and you will not send all this at one time. But before you start the querying process, you actually need to have all of these things done. There's nothing worse than making an editor or an agent wait once they say, I want to see more. Now querying, like I said, is always first. If the agent likes it, they'll ask for either some or all of this submission package. Now today we're going to go over the query letter. Query letters serve 2 functions. They are to tell the agent what your story is about and to ask them if they are interested in your story. The query shows your agent or your potential agent that you have a good grasp on your story, that you have weaved a compelling and interesting story into one page to get them hooked. It lets them know that you know how to get a reader hooked. There are actually 6 parts to a good query. The first thing will always be the hook or the grabber, and this is what's going to get the person interested to read what the story is about. You should have 1 to 3 paragraphs about your story. Now these 1 to 3 paragraphs plus the other paragraphs all need to fit onto one page. So you want to get the most pertinent and interesting facts out there and weave them to where the agent or editor wants to read more. Then you're going to have 1 short paragraph about you and your credentials if you have any. Now if you don't, that's fine. Then you're going to say why you're soliciting the agent. Are they the agent to your favorite author? Do they represent someone who has the same types of books you do? What made you look for that agent specifically? Then you're going to have the length and genre of the novel. And sometimes if you don't have any credentials yet, you can use this space to actually give comparable novels. When I went to Colorado Writing Conference, since I only had the 1 novel under my belt, I used that. And then if you're mailing your query, you're going to want to indicate to them that you have a self-addressed stamp, an envelope with your query letter. It's called a SASE, self-addressed stamp and envelope. Now, when you are writing your query, there are some specific things that you are going to need to do. There should be a 1-inch margin around all the corners. You should put your name and contact information at the top if it's written. If it's electronic via email, it will need to be underneath your name at the bottom of the letter. You're going to use block formatting, which means no indenting. It will need to be standard font with 12-point type, and the body should be single spaced, and in between the paragraphs should be double spaced. And lastly, you want to keep it to 1 page. Now, the important thing when you're writing a query after you've written the query is you want to research the agents that you want to send this to. You want to also check for each agent. I know there's the literary guide to agents for every year. That's a really good help. And I will link down below some really good sites and books that I have used in the past to help me find really good agents. But when you're researching the agents, you want to make sure if they are accepting via email only, snail mail only, both, if they want just the query, if they want a query and a synopsis, or whatever else. They could want the whole package depending on where they are and what agent they are. Every agent has their own preferences. To not follow these pretty much means you've wasted your time and theirs. Now, for email queries, the specs are the same as far as writing the query itself, with the only difference being your contact information will be below your thank you and your name signature. Your subject line for the email should have either the name of your novel or a description, like the genre being paranormal romance, if I were to send mine. But the body and the block formatting and 12-point font, all that is going to remain the same. Now, at no point in your query do you want to mention the following. This is death by query. Don't mention that you're sending multiple submissions out. They know this, but they don't want to hear it. Don't ask them for advice. After all, you're trying to get them to want to hire them, not free advice. Don't ask about any advances or copyrights, because then you sound like you just want the money and not for everyone to read your hard-working novel that you spent so much time on. And lastly, make sure that your query is what sells it. Your credentials, what you have or haven't done, should be afterthought. They should already have the novel hooked into their mind and want to read more by the time they get to the part where they're reading about you. Now, if you haven't written a novel before, if you haven't been published, I write for my work paper. I could put that in. I have judged contests on Wattpad. I personally haven't, but if you have, that would be something you would put in. The fact that you know what you're talking about, you have the background of what you're talking about. If you're writing a John Grisham courtroom novel and you're a lawyer, you would have that kind of thing. If not, let your novel be at the forefront. And something I learned from the Colorado Writing Conference last year is I paid to have my query critiqued beforehand by Chuck Sambuchino, and I thought it was really awesome, and he did a really great job on it. But then when I gave my query to the women I was pitching, a couple of them said I would have changed this and this and this. So every agent is different. Every agent expects it to be written different. But that's the thing, if your novel is written great and it hooks them, it doesn't matter whether the words are at the top or the bottom or whatever. But don't let no feedback or rejection get in your way. There's some authors that have gone through 80 to 400 rejections before they became the best-selling novelists that they are. So don't let that get in your way. I pitched to 3 women at the Colorado Writing Conference, and I only had one give me any feedback. So it happens. They're busy. They don't have time. It wasn't good enough. Whatever the reason. Keep writing. Keep being you. And it will come your way. Now, if you decide to self-publish, none of this matters. But if you're going to traditionally publish, like I am going to try to do this time, you need to know this. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Make sure you like, thumbs up, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Check out all my links below, my website, Facebook, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys later. Bye.